The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And if you'd like to give us a call, 1-800-610-7035. Email is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is J. Mark Campbell. He's the Communications Director at the United West. Now, in the past, Mark was a certified novel broadband and Cisco network engineer who was a teacher, designer, and implementer of global area networks for AT&T, Sprint, and other telecom carriers throughout the U.S. and abroad. Now, Mark was one of the select few to actually lead Cisco network engineers in implementing and testing the then new voice over IP protocol in Australia in the late 1990s. Yet, after September 11, 2001, Mark began focusing his efforts on understanding why the 9/11 attacks occurred and wrote 3 unpublished books on the issue. In 2008, Mark joined with Tom Trento, where in 2009 he and his video team uncovered on film a terrorist fundraising network in Florida, coordinated by then Florida governor's faith-based Islamic advisor, Imam Muhammad Musri. And this eventually led to the banning of the admitted Hamas terrorist fundraiser George Galloway from the U.S. and the removal of Musri as Islamic advisor to Governor of Florida. Joining me now from Florida is J. Mark Campbell, who is as I said, the Communications Director at the United West, and their website is theunitedwest.org. And Mark, thanks very much for joining us tonight. I know you're a busy guy, so I have to ask you, here we are, we're coming up to the anniversary of 9/11 in a few days. What have you learned since that horrific day, and have you become any more enlightened on what really happened and what the reason was?
Yes, I have. First of all, thank you for having me on your show, Rob. I appreciate that.
That's my pleasure.
Yes, I have. It's when I first started on this, I was just simply trying to figure out why they attacked us. Why did they hate us? Well,
Yeah.
What did we do wrong? And that was the initial impetus of my whole investigation. I never intended to get knee deep into the whole counter-jihad movement. Never had any intention to doing any video editing. Never had any intention of doing anything I'm doing now. And it just, the more and more I looked into it, the more and more I found that it was worse than I thought. And that's when I picked up the camera and said, well, if it's that bad, then I have to go out and, capture it on film. And when I started actually going out there on the ground, looking, into the mosque, into the field, it became, worse than I thought.
Where were you on the day the Twin Towers went down?
I was in San Antonio, Texas, during doing an IT job down there. I just got back from Australia.
What were your feelings as you sat there and watched the attacks take place?
Well, I had no idea it was a terrorist attack right at first. It was I thought it was just a plane that hit the building.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea about Islam or anything. You could have picked up a Quran and showed it to me. I wouldn't know what it was. I was completely ignorant of everything Islamic, everything jihad related. I had no clue that it could even possibly, in the farthest reach of my mind, be a terrorist attack. I thought it was just a plane crashing.
Yeah. How did you feel when you put one and one together and got terrorist attack?
Well, like I said, that's when I started saying, well, why did we do so wrong? What was it that we did? And like most Americans, we take responsibility for our actions, and we take responsibility for what we do. And then to come to discover this other culture out there is 180 opposite of ours in pretty much every direction and every aspect. And it is very fascinating. Is this quote unquote Islamic culture, and I don't even want to call it Islamic culture. It's just a mindset, really, where you do not take responsibility for your actions. Everybody else is to blame. You're always the victim, and it's that victim mentality that permeates, that whole Middle Eastern region. Is somebody else's fault. Someone made me do it, and we're just not, our mindset is 180 opposite of that.
Yeah.
And every time you go look at something else, it becomes more and more. We're diametrically opposed in pretty much every aspect of our life.
Mark, stand by. You and I have to take our 2-minute commercial break. We'll be right back. Exo Nation. J. Mark Campbell is our special guest. He's the communications director at the United West. Their website is www.theunitedwest.org. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the Exo. Mark and I will return in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com. J. Mark Campbell's my special guest this hour. TheUnitedWest.org is the website. Mark, how do you think that this entire scenario was able to go under the radar where up until September the 11th, nobody had really paid any attention to Islam, to the thought or even the possibility that we would be attacked, even though this was the second attack on the Twin Towers. It's like, okay, this was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and nobody's going to do it again, and bang, away you go. You had two Twin Towers, you had the Pentagon, you had the plane that was taken down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania by a group of very courageous people.
Well, there's a multitude of reasons, and the more I investigated this, there was many reasons why this was, put under the radar, if you will. It's because on both sides, on the Democrat and the Republican side, from our, in our system of government, is we have a two-party system here, and the Democrats and the Republicans were both involved in bringing in Islamic money and Islamic advisors and oil wealth, and the money just corrupted both sides of our political process. And it was a concerted effort by the Muslim Brotherhood back in the 1960s to actually infiltrate our governmental system. And it just kept going. And in the 1990s, it became worse. And a man by the name of Musa Abu Mazouk, he's the deputy chief of Hamas today, was one of the primary persons setting up, a lot of these covert, if you will, groups in the United States. And they're very public in nature. There's nothing covert about them at all. Like the Council of American Islamic Relations, there's nothing covert about the group. It's just that their motives don't want to be exposed. And it's from both sides. It's from the Republicans and the Democrats, and the oil money just got involved in it all.
So how do, like here we are in the year 2014, like I said, a few days away from the anniversary of 9/11. What have we learned, and how can we prevent this from happening again?
Well, unfortunately, we haven't learned that much. We're still, the vast majority of the country, I would say, is really ignorant of the insidious nature of the Muslim Brotherhood and their doctrine and their motives. I mean, just now, today, even within the last month, we're starting to see, well, this is the ideology that they're preaching and that they want to have happen. And whether it's ISIS, whether it's Iran, whether it's the Muslim Brotherhood, they all have the same thing in common, which is three things: convert, submit, or die. It's pretty simple in its execution, and it's doctrinal. It comes right from their teaching, and this is how they believe.
I understand that people have the right to believe what they want to believe for their religion. They have the right to free speech, but when it comes to the how can I best say this and trying to be politically correct at the same time? When it comes to the national security, when it comes to the national security, we know that there are terrorist organizations that are planning to continue the attacks on American soil, that they are bound and determined to take over the world by hook or by crook. And when we look at the fights, the wars that have been going on between the Muslims and the Christians, this isn't the first time that this has happened in our lifetime. This has been going on for hundreds of years. So how come we haven't learned yet?
Well, let's first make a distinction here between an ideology and a person.
Okay.
Is when I talk about Islam or I talk about the ideology of Islam, I'm talking that it's a corrupt system of ideology. People who call themselves Muslims, I don't think the vast majority of them have no idea what the core teachings of the ideology are, and they simply go along with the leadership. Mm-hmm. Now, with that said, is the ideology of Nazism, for example, is an abhorrent ideology. And when you look at it just on its face, where it promotes the genocide of Jews, and where it promotes the domination, the totalitarian takeover of the world, where it talks about killing people who are of another race or of another religion purely because of their religious beliefs, mm-hmm. That's barbaric. I mean, like I said, we see it today with ISIS.
Yeah,
It's barbarism. And if you want to follow an ideology that says other people must convert, submit, or die, I will fight you to the ends of the earth, because you're trying to deny my freedom of religion. And if you want to go pray to Allah and towards Mecca and pray towards the Kaaba stone 5 times a day, go ahead, knock yourself out. I could care less. But when you say I can't preach, I can't believe what I want to believe, and you're going to either kill me, force me to pay a jizya tax, or kill me, I mean, this is not rocket science, Bob.
No.
You really don't. You strip away all the political correctness. You look at the ideology. Take it away from the people that you know. This is where I find a lot of problems. People try to associate a person they know and say, "Well, he's Muslim. He's fine."
Yeah.
But he's not. But he's not. If he doesn't go towards ISIS goes towards, then he's not following doctrine. And this is not J. Mark Campbell saying this. This is very learned Islamic scholars from Sayyid Qutb and beyond. I mean, all you have to do is read their own words, read their own writings. Look at Al-Azhar University, for example. Al-Azhar University is a teaching center to teach Muslim Brotherhood doctrine, to that convert, submit, or die doctrine. But anyway, like I said, this is not rocket science.
All right, we know that there are organizations within the United States where these organizations have been infiltrated by the terrorist or the.
You mean organizations such as CARE and those type of organizations you're talking about?
Yeah, and we also know that the Muslim Brotherhood.
Well, first of all, CARE. I just want to make a quick correction. CARE was not infiltrated by terrorists. It was created by terrorists. A big difference. It was set up by Hamas.
Really?
It was, yes, back in 1994. I mean, 92, 93, October 2nd and 3rd, 1993. There was a secret meeting in Philadelphia, recorded by the FBI. Anybody can go look it up. Go look it up for yourselves if you want to. It's called the Philadelphia meeting. October 2nd, 3rd, FBI wiretap, presented in the Holy Land Foundation trial as evidence of the Hamas meeting. People who were there, who ran the meeting, was Omar Ahmed, who was the founder of CARE, and and another person who was at the meeting there was also Nihad Awad, the current director of CARE. And alongside was the Musa Abu Mazurk, a globally designated terrorist. His right-hand man and his financer were at the meeting, and they helped organize this meeting. And I'm not saying any conspiracy thing here. This is court records. These are court documents. Go look them up. CARE was founded by terrorists. There is no doubt about it. You just got to go look. Read the information. It's out there, folks.
So if all this information is out there, Mark, in court documents, in FBI reports and other intelligence agencies, Homeland Security, and all these people are aware of the danger and the threat level that is imminent. Why is nothing being done about it?
Well, that's the $1 million question now, isn't it? Because you have a Judge Solis came there at the end of the Holy Land Foundation trial. Mm-hmm. He was so upset at everything that was being presented from him. He took an unprecedented step, if you will. He said, not only are you guys guilty of in the Holy Land Foundation trial of funding terrorism, there's all these co-conspirators that are involved with you too, and we want the government to go after it. In fact, I'm going to make an unindicted co-conspirator list to help force the government to go after them. And he listed their names. He listed a bunch of individuals, a bunch of names, including CARE, the North American Islamic Trust, all the four-letter words you can think of the people who were involved in it. And it's every major Muslim group in America. And CARE and the North American Islamic Trust went and tried to get their names removed off this list, and an appeals court looked at it and says, no, you guys are obviously 100% with Hamas. You guys stay on the list. We're not getting rid of you. You wish you could make this stuff up.
Yeah.
So you look at it and you say, okay, why aren't they getting prosecuted? Well, You look at the current White House, it is completely infiltrated with Muslim Brotherhood operatives. There are 6 known Muslim Brotherhood operatives in the White House right now, and chances are there's a lot more. Now, also, you look on the Republican side. This is not a Republican or a Democrat issue. You look on the Republican side, you get people like Grover Norquist, who is the number one, supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood on the Republican side of the ticket. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Like I said, there's massive amounts of money coming in here to buy politicians to keep them quiet.
So what do you think the ultimate goal is?
Convert, submit, or die. There is they tell you it. I'm not making. This is not my opinion. This is what they tell you is their goal. Look at the Hamas Charter, which is founded by the Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas, which founded CARE. Okay, CARE is nothing more than the media arm of the Muslim Brotherhood in in Gaza area. And if you read their charter, look up the covenant, the Hamas covenant, their constitution, if you will. The very first line, Israel will exist and continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it. What is confusing about this? What is hard to understand? They're telling you what they're going to do.
But are they telling us why they're going to do it?
Yeah, because of their religion and faith.
Stand by, Mark. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Interesting conversation, Exonation. My guest this hour is J. Mark Campbell. He's the Communications Director at the United West, www.theunitedwest.org. This is the X-Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, and then all weekend. And we're heard around the world on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and our family of broadcast affiliates, terrestrial radio stations, satellite programmers, and internet providers as well. I'll be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away. Hi, this is Rob McConnell, just letting you know that the X-Chronicles newspaper is now available online at www.xzonebookclub.com. All past editions and current editions of the X-Chronicles newspaper are available for 99 cents. That's www.xzonebookclub.com, and that's 99 cents U.S. per edition. And don't forget, the X-Zone store is now open as well for all of your X-Zone Nation merchandise. www.thexzonestore.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, aguidinglight, spelled LITE.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
You know, I've been doing this show 23 years now, and I can always tell when somebody has a lot of passion about a topic that we're discussing. And I've got to tell you, Exonation, my guest this hour, J. Mark Campbell, is really passionate about this. He wants the truth to get out there. There's so much going on right under everybody's nose, and here you've got a handful of people who are saying, hey, guys, take the blinders off. Look what's happening right in front of you. Mark, you were telling me during the commercial break that you actually walked into a Hamas fundraiser in Florida.
Yeah, and it was right down the street from my house. That was the funny thing about it. And we saw in the advertisement that they had a gentleman by the name of George Galloway coming to the mosque. And if anybody knows anything about Muslim, Muslim bad guys, George Galloway, who's a member of Parliament in the UK, has been handed bags full of cash to Hamas in Gaza on camera and says, "Come arrest me." He openly defies international law and hands bags full of cash to Hamas. Canada, your country, even banned him, and that's pretty bad when Canada bans you from anything.
Well, that's true, eh?
And
we're the nice guys, eh? Yeah, don't.
You're the nice guys.
Yeah,
everybody loves Canada.
That's because we've got Tim Hortons coffee up here that just got bought by Burger King.
But anyway, we see this fundraiser going on in the mosque, and he's Palestine. We know it's going to be a Hamas fundraiser.
Right.
That's what he does. That's what George Galloway does. So we had to figure out how to get in there because we don't look Muslim, and there's like 7 of us. So we had to get into the mosque and actually film this stuff. So we decided to come up with a plan of actually acting as the camera crew and come in like 2 minutes before the event started and rush right in. So we came into the event. We said, "I go, where's Imam Musriat?" which is the guy who's the imam of the mosque. We said, "We need to set up for the video shoot. Where's Imam Musriat?" And I go, "Well, I don't know. He's off running around over here." And we go, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll just go set up. I know what to do." And so I started directing people all around the mosque, laying cables, acting like you own the place, And so we got 3 different camera shoots. I'm giving hand signals across the thing and everything. And I kept waiting for people coming. "Well, who are you?" And one person came up and asked me. He said, "Well, who are you?" I go, "Well, we're the camera crew for the event." I said, "Oh, okay." And they walked away. So we're sitting here filming the whole event, and Galloway and everybody thinks he's among his peeps, so he's just freely speaking whatever he wants to say. And the whole time I thought we were going to get busted the whole time, but so we get it, and we look what we have, and it's a complete total Hamas fundraiser we catch on tape inside a mosque. Excuse me. But inside a mosque, we catch the Hamas fundraiser. And then to come to find out that the imam of the mosque is the governor of Florida's faith-based advisor.
Oh, boy.
And, I mean, so we weren't just after trying to make a YouTube video or anything like that. What we did, we took it to the FBI. We said, "Hey, FBI, look at this. We got a Hamas fundraiser right here, and the governor's faith-based advisor is behind it." And so it was about a year went by and everything. And it went all the way up through federal court, federal, that's all, it's about a year and a half, actually. And we finally got George Galloway banned from the United States because of this Hamas fundraiser.
Unreal.
And we eventually got the governor's faith-based advisor to be removed as a faith-based advisor. So, but the bad news is George Galloway got elected as a member of Parliament again just recently, of the Respect Party, and he's allowed back in the United States. So that's one of the downers of this whole thing, if you will.
How many of these different sleeper cells, if I can use that term, do you believe there are in the United States right now raising money for the cause?
Well, if you look at one of the simple things to do. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm catching a bad cold here.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You have to look at the mosque ownership. You have to look at who owns the mosque, and the ones owned by the North American Islamic Trust is a Hamas front group, and you just go down the list. And I'd have to say a good 70 to 80% of them conservatively, support indirectly to the terrorism movement, because if you look at what they have to give, one part of their doctrine of zakat is supposed to go fund jihad, and that's this is not Mark saying this; it's right out of their books. Mm-hmm. So they have a zakat committee, and the zakat committee has to give the money to fight holy war or jihad, if you will. And so a lot of this is actually being funded through the mosque. And if you look at going back to Musa Abu Marzouk, if you look at him and Hania, his cohort up there, they're making billions of dollars. He's worth $2 to $3 billion. Marzouk is, and Hania is worth double that. Once again, these aren't my words, aren't my figures. These are what people have discovered, and there's billions with a B, not million, with a B. And it's a big. If you look at it as a mafioso type of, New Jersey mafia clan, right? That's probably a more analogous, to what it is than it is.
I don't think Tony Soprano ever wanted to take over the United States. I think he was pretty happy with his own little organization, and the difference between the mafia, which they're just businessmen basically. They run a good business, mm-hmm. and many times I've said if the government would actually take the working model that the mafia uses, it would work a lot better. But that's for another show.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the jihadists, they scare the hell out of me.
Well, they should. But here's the good news about jihadists. What we've always found, if you fight them, if you go after them and go aggressively towards them, they actually run away from you because they're really cowards at heart. And they do not like the light of truth being shown upon them because they won't debate us in a debate. They refuse to do that because we nail them every time with facts. We don't have to make stuff up. It's all there in black and white. In their words, in their doctrines, in their ideology. It's you just read it, understand what they're doing, and it's actually pretty simple.
All right, so what's the difference between a jihadist and what we're seeing today with ISIS?
There is no difference. What are you talking about? It's the same doctrine, the same ideology, the same everything.
Okay, why I was saying that because
there's no difference.
Because I think that the manner in which ISIS deals with the day-to-day reality of terror is a lot stronger than the old Al-Qaeda. I think the ISIS people are targeting the young people. They're using the social media. They're using Western techniques for recruitment. And listen, today they cut the head off of another American. And they're threatening to cut the head off of a British subject.
Okay, if you go back and you look at Muhammad's rule during his time period, it's exactly what he did. Muhammad was a lot crueler than ISIS was.
Wow.
You read they put it in doctrine. This is not Mark saying this. This is the scholars, the authoritarians, the people who write books about this stuff in Arabic. This is what they're following Muhammad. Muhammad was far worse than ISIS ever thought about being. Now, put that in your cap and think about
it. We were talking before about Israel, and we were talking about why, what the Muslims were saying about Israel, that it's basically a clash of cultures, a clash of religions. Why? What did the Israelis ever do to the Muslims to cause this hate?
Muhammad killed them. Muhammad wanted them dead. That's all the reason they need. You're seeing this genocidal mentality, inside the Middle Eastern countries, especially, and you're seeing it popping up more and more in Europe. And you're starting to see it's, not as bad as it is in Europe, but it's starting to pop its head up over here in the United States. This whole it's a clash of cultures, meaning this is a tribal war. This is a Hatfield and McCoy war going all the way back to hundreds of years. They have they have to keep their tribe, their race, their social order pure. I mean, what does that sound like? Why do you think they joined with the Nazis back in World War II, created the Handschar Division? Go look, not making this up, go look it up. The Handschar camp wiped out 90% of the Bosnian Jews. So efficiently, Hitler trained his SS officers to go with the Handschar Division to learn from them how to kill Jews. This genocidal Jew, this is a war that goes so far back because Muhammad killed the Jews. Muhammad said, you must rid the world of Judaism. Not me saying this, Muhammad.
All right, so taking a look at the big picture, Mark, how do we stop it? How do we turn it around? How do we fight it?
Well, there's many ways. First of all, you have to give these people other than religion to what to fight for and what to die for. You know, in America, in Canada, and Western civilizations, we have a way to get our self-worth, our self-honor, our soul, if you will, of our spirit to be guided towards other things. In America, a lot of it's capitalism, and in other societies, it's different forms of, you know, honor. If you, you go into the military, for example, you become a colonel, you know, you have more honor than a major. And so you have a system of ways to get respect and self-worth.
The pecking
over in the
order.
Middle East, over in the Middle East, and in Islamic culture, it's your honor is all determined by how pure you keep your women. And when you keep your women pure, your family has honor, your tribe has honor, and you move up into the society. That is the reason they dress their women in veils and burqas. They want to keep their women pure, so their family has a way to gain honor. It's just this is a whole hour lecture on this subject, but it's a different form of how to gain your self-respect. And as long as they're determined to gain their honor through the purity of the women, any other tribe that tries to come in and spoil their women's purity is going to be, you know, considered a threat in their little kingdoms. And so you have to break this female domination cycle. That's one key thing, and you have to give people an outlet where to go. So you have to westernize the women. If you don't start there, you're actually going to have a long, hard road to hoe.
So how do you westernize the women if they're under the dominant control of the male?
Good question. That's the reason the Islamic cultures try to shut down the internet, try to shut down music, try to shut down any type of outside influence. You know, fortunately, you know, young kids want to go look at this stuff.
Right.
But here's the problem. If they do, and they somehow do have dishonor the family, have sexual relations or whatever you will, they're actually banished from the community. And it's very difficult for a young woman to leave the Islamic community, because once she leaves her faith, she's an apostate who must be killed.
Wow.
And look at the Rifka Berry case we dealt with. We helped a girl who was a Muslim girl escape from Islam, and we reached out to her. And she actually reached out to us. She says, "Please help me." And she says, "I want to go to Christianity," was her chosen thing she wanted to do.
Right.
And she says, "I can't get out of here. I can't escape. They're going to kill me. I'm going to die." And she was dead serious, and she was right. They were. And we finally got her out of that situation and actually got her to a safe house. But you need to repeat that process about 10 million times. And the community, the Islamic community, has these women locked down, and they do not let them. If you think of a woman in the Islamic community as a piece of property or a dog, if you will, and you don't want that dog to become impure bred, then you have to lock them down.
Wow.
You have to control, everything that goes around them, and that's at the heart of the base culture of a lot of these Islamic communities.
All right, if we know that's the base culture, and we know that changing their ways is going to be next to impossible to westernize them, why is immigration of these areas allowed to come into the States? Why isn't
Good question.
immigration refused?
Well, the reason is, first of all, the Good question. And why do you think now that Obama, who's the head of our, wants to let immigration open?
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to cut into the base of America. And Canada, you guys have a big problem up there, coming in from Iran. I don't know if you solved that, but it's a huge culture. I mean, it's a huge problem with that culture. It wants to come in, and they do not want to assimilate. That's the problem. They want to convert your culture to their culture that they ran from. Yeah. It's really kind of a backward thinking mentality, but it really is. And so you have to look, or put it to you in this light. During World War II, would you let people that were part of the Nazi Party come into your country?
Of course
not.
No,
it's insane.
Well, look what we did to the poor Japanese Americans, for goodness sake. We put them in internment camps.
I know, but if you look at it as far as that mentality is concerned, then
Mark,
I hope I don't run over time here. I don't know how close it is.
Well, we got 20 seconds, so you and I will be back as we wrap up this hour here on the X Zone. My very special guest, J. Mark Campbell, Communications Director at the United West, I should say. West. The UnitedWest.org. We'll be back. Don't go away. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com. Hi, this is Rob McConnell, just letting you know that the X Chronicles newspaper is now available online at www.xzonebookclub.com. All past editions and current editions of the X Chronicles newspaper are available for 99 cents. That's www.xzonebookclub.com, and that's 99 cents US per edition. And don't forget, the X Zone store is now open as well for all of your X Zone Nation merchandise. www.thexzonestore.com. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. J. Mark Campbell's my special guest. He's Communications Director at the United West, www.theunitedwest.org. Now, something is happening that is going to blow the socks off of a lot of people. I don't want to spill the beans yet, but in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have Mark back on. We're going to have Tom Trenton back on. He's going to be on with me later on this week. And the project that these two gentlemen are going to tell you about are going to blow your minds. That is a promise.
Hopefully.
I know it will. You guys have got something that is long overdue, and I congratulate you and Tom and the rest of your team on it. You've got an event coming up, my friend. Tell our listeners about it.
Yeah, we have an event with Alan West, the former congressman, Alan West, Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin, who was the commander of Delta Force. He's actually one of the founding members of Delta Force, and noteworthy. The Black Hawk Down, the movie, if you remember that was part of his organization.
In fact, Jerry Boykin was on First Hour tonight. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, great guy.
He's a firebrand.
Oh, gosh.
He's a wonderful man.
Yes.
Yeah, wait till you get him to tell you some of his war stories. They're pretty good. Lieutenant General McInerney. Lieutenant General McInerney. He's actually another excellent. He was the third highest ranking Air Force officer in the United States Air Force. Commanded Alaska NORAD.
Wow.
And just a fan. He's one of the Fox News contributors. You see him on TV all the time. Also, Gary Bernstein, who's a former CIA station chief. A station chief is the one who's the head honcho over all the CIA spooks. And we just had him on our show today. And he just got back in country. We lost him there for a while. He went off on somewhere unknown mission and just got back. And he was one who tracked down Bin Laden first. Had Bin Laden cornered years ago, and the administration let him get away.
Oh my gosh!
Because they didn't want to pull the trigger, and they had him cornered. And so that Gary Bernstein, he's a jawbreaker. He's complete fascinating, man. If anybody can somehow find their way down to Boston for that, it's September 9th, and if anybody can make it down, it'd be fascinating. You'd have a great time. So. And you can have VIP dinners with all these people, too, if you want to. So,
hey, Mark, it's been...
And then on 9/11... Oh, will we lose you?
No. Go right ahead.
Real quick, we have a bike... 9/11, we have a 2 million biker ride to D.C. to honor 9/11 victims. And it's 2 million bikers in D.C. Check it out.
All right, Mark, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to working with you and Tom and the gang in the future and having you back on the show to blow the socks off of everyone here that's listening to us tonight. Take care of yourself, my friend. Keep the great work up.
Okay, thank you.
All right. X Zone Nation, my guest this hour has been J. Mark Campbell, and he is the Director of Communications for the United West. Their website is www.theunitedwest.org. That's www.theunitedwest.org. Well, that's it for tonight. No, it's not. I've got one more hour. Wow, that's right. My gosh, time flies when you're having fun. Listen, Exo Nation, if you'd like to send an email and give me your comments on what you've heard tonight or on any other show, if you have a guest suggestion, all you have to do is send an email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. That's xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or give us a call toll-free worldwide at 1-800-610-7035 and hit the 0. It'll take you to our operator and record your message for us. Who knows? We may play it on air. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Don't go away.